In my life, there came a time when I had to make a change. You know, the things just weren't right. I looked around for someone else to blame. Searched and I reached down inside. And I knew when found there's a light I can hide. I can be free. I can be free. I can rise above. I can. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum coming to you from the Santa Cruz Voice, and very happy to be here. I think this is show number 5 for me, and it's a beautiful day here in Santa Cruz, and it's a good day to be thinking about your health, and that's why my show is called Your Health, Your Choice. That song that I started off with is called You Can Be Free by my good friend Steve Funderburg, sung by Lindsey Graham, I think 11-time Grammy Award winner by now. And, it really talks about the dreams that we have, the dreams that we've thought about, the things that we don't know that we can reach. And oftentimes, we keep reaching and we just never get the mark and we just don't think we can do it. So I really want to encourage all of us to, including myself, to just never give up on your dreams or your goals. And there's a lot of roadblocks in the way, and those are the things that we have to become better at overcoming. So today I wanted to talk about health and, a lot of stress going on in the world right now. I think we can all agree to that. And I was thinking about this. Stress seems to come well, it's always there, and our body can deal with stress pretty well. But there's been certain moments, since the turn of this last century, mega points that have affected us, and and those things leave marks on us. And think about Y2K. What those of you that were alive then, how much stress there was building up to that, and how much propaganda and end of the world stuff, and everything was going to fall apart. And whether it was true or not, there was enough of the media pushing it that it made a lot of people scared. It stopped people from reaching and it stopped people from dreaming, and it became a reactive society. Well, we got over Y2K, and then came the next thing was, 9/11 when the towers were hit. I remember it well, driving my kids, coming back from driving my kids to school, and when I was listening to it, the news on one of the local radio stations, and all of a sudden, fear hit again, and the stress of not knowing and understanding, and threat of, survival for me and my family and for the area that we live in. And that causes, a reaction in our body that can actually be detrimental to our health. Just the stress of the cortisol and the various things that come in that can actually be so damaging to us. So, and then, time went on. And then, the next thing, I'm probably skipping one I'm thinking about, but the next one was COVID, or that big scare. And all of a sudden, everything shut down, and the propaganda and the media and all of this stuff is telling us a narrative that may or may not have been true. And they're still arguing about it. But it stopped a nation, and it quieted dreams, and it brought in fear, and it created this stress in our body called cortisol that the adrenal glands emit under more moments of stress. And that came, and there's a lot of damage from that, a lot of collateral damage from people that got sick, people that tried the prevention to getting sick, just the fact of segregation, businesses lost, jobs lost, lives lost. And, but it left a mark on us for those of us that are still here. And a lot of people still have long COVID type symptoms, which is a thing. So, time moves on, and then came the election, right? And amount of stress connected to that election on both sides of the mark, no matter who you're with, there's a huge amount of stress and, conflict amongst people and groups on who's right and who's wrong. And we get to this point to where it's like, what's the difference between good and evil? There's definitely evil out there, no doubt about it. Um, but we don't, we have our viewpoint on which is which. But regardless, we've been pitted against each other for so long by who knows what. And sometimes they're actually, um, hidden factors, hidden people that are going to be putting out the propaganda. I mean, oftentimes I was even reading about the Napoleon Wars and Waterloo, and how the same money, the same banks were funding both sides of the war. And, they funded one a little more than the other, but they made sure that they got, weapons paid for from both groups. And as long as there was a war, there was profit to be made. And, there's a lot of argument about that going on in many of the wars that have happened and many of the lives lost. And, it's kind of like at one day we just need to, take a deep breath and go, okay, what can we do to help ourselves? How do we find sanity in a pool of craziness? And how do we reach out and try to embrace the people that might not believe as us? It may be impossible, and I don't want to turn you off because that's not the purpose of my show. I mean, unity or some kind of understanding would be great. I grew up in the age of Aquarius, where I should play that song, love and understanding. And but anyway, I wanted to just talk about health and how this stress is affecting your health and your energy and the health and energy of the ones you love, your productivity, and just decide what we can do about it, what could be done about it. So um, I have a book that I wrote here, and it's called New Hope for Sciatica. And I can tell you a story about this. This book, New Hope for Sciatica, came out the right in that couple months that COVID came about. And I had written 4 historical fiction books by then, all California history based on family, and the Little Big Jim, Adventures of Little Big Jim. Give them a quick plug. They're on Amazon. The sequel to that is called The Journey's End, and then the 5th book in that series, Kaleidoscope, and then Coalinga, Coaling Station A, which is a murder mystery. But I thought, okay, I got to write a health book. I've been in chiropractic at that point over 30 years. And I thought, okay, we need to really get some really facts out there about what's going on in the world. So anyway, my name is Dr. Duncan McCollum. I'm a chiropractor in Capitola. I've been practicing in Santa Cruz for over 35 years. You'd think if I've practiced that long, I would have learned something by now. But the truth is, I'm always learning. I'm always in the trenches. I'm always studying. I've got a new book coming out probably in about 3 or 4 months. I'll withhold the name of it. But I have already published another book since New Hope for Sciatica. It's called New Hope for Peripheral Neuropathy, or Turn Back Your Biological Clock. And that book's available on Amazon as well. And in fact, while I'm talking about peripheral neuropathy, if you don't know what that is, it's the nerves that have exited the spine having a pathology or a condition that doesn't make them work right. That's what a pathology is. It's not working. It's taken the wrong path. And so we're doing a workshop on peripheral neuropathy both Wednesday and Thursday of this week. Wednesday's probably close to filled. There might be 1 or 2 seats left. And that's 12:30 at my office in Capitola, Brown Ranch Marketplace. If you think you have peripheral neuropathy, or know somebody who does or thinks they do, and they're having trouble walking, sleeping. They feel like they got wadded up socks or tingling or burning, or they can't drive because they don't know which pedal the foot's on. You may want to come to this class, and you can call up my office, 831-459-9990, and come to the class. You have to call and reserve a seat because we're almost booked up. We have one Thursday night, 6 o'clock. I know there's more openings there. And we'd like to know you're coming so that we can save you seats and get something for you to munch on when you show up. So that's a workshop on peripheral neuropathy this Wednesday and Thursday at my office in Capitol. I'll talk about it again before the show's over, but you can call 831-459-9990, and I'll repeat that number as well. So anyway, I decided I should write a book on health, and I wrote this book called New Hope for Sciatica, and I got involved with a book writing guild because I figured I just kind of sat down at a typewriter and started typing one day and came up with 4 books, but I don't really know how to write a science book. So I joined this group. There were about 33 of us, and I was the only guy there, which was kind of fun. And we had 9 weeks to write a book. And that seemed incredibly ridiculous, but we actually all got them done. And then we all flew out to Washington, D.C. to have a big publishing thing. And the next day, everybody's book was supposed to publish. Mine didn't publish. It didn't show up on Amazon. And we thought it was a glitch. We started digging around, and these people that I paid a lot of money to help me publish the book were shaking their head. Well, we found out my book got censored off of Amazon because I mentioned the word COVID in it. So this was in, let's see when the date was on this. It was copyright 2020. Yeah. So right in 2020 was March of 2020, almost 5 years ago today, or right around there. My book was censored. I could not believe it. Here's this lowly author just trying to get some information out on health, and I mentioned a word that nobody could talk about. And if you did, you were stripped of your dignity or anything. You were blackballed. So I had to change my foreword of my book. It was the foreword, and I'm going to read it to you in a minute, that actually got me blackballed and kicked off of Amazon and whatever other publishing companies I had put it into. But I thought it was really a real drag. That was a lot of work, and going out to Washington, D.C. and hanging out and having a party to publish our books, and then oops, no, yours is censored. Censored. This is the United States. I thought that mentioning a word wouldn't be such a deal in a book, but it was. But we were at a time of crisis, and there was a lot going on, scaring people like crazy, a lot of misinformation out there and blocked information. A lot of people's tongues were tied. And so I'm going to read the note, the forward note, and hopefully it will be interesting to you. But this is why my book got blocked. Here we go. As I sit in the process of writing this book, perhaps the biggest wake-up call the nation in modern history has plagued our planet. Even as I sit and write these words, citizens of our country, and in fact the whole world, are quarantined or confined to their own homes. Entire cities and even countries have been shut down, and all non-essential businesses have been asked to temporarily close their doors. The deadly coronavirus had arrived, and with it came mass hysteria. So that word, deadly coronavirus, got my book blackballed. The powers that be, governments, nations, our own CDC and FDA, let alone the World Health Organization, had been turned on their ears. This coronavirus, invisible to the naked eye, has proven the biggest terrorist of all. It is almost like our planet had been invaded from outer space, and we are defenseless against the aliens' attack. People are scrambling for supplies. Things as common as toilet paper and paper towels are nowhere to be found. Shopping carts have been commandeered and slammed together as frantic citizens are vying for positions, grabbing boatloads of supplies off the shelves of local grocery stores, often leaving none and showing no regards for their neighbors. Not since the last World War has the world realized such a threat to survival, and yet, perhaps out of the rubble and ruin of an inept and now defenseless healthcare system will rise a new awareness in the minds of the peoples of Earth. That's Bugs Bunny, peoples of Earth. For far too many years, we have depended on Big Pharma to save the day with the next new miracle pill. Yet, with the invasion of Corona, we are left defenseless. Or are we? Did you know that the wisest and most powerful physician who ever walked this planet lives right inside of you? It reminds me of the 1939 movie called The Wizard of Oz. For the entirety of the movie, Dorothy was searching for a way home. She evaded wicked witches, flying monkeys, fell victim to patches of wild, intoxicating poppies, when the whole time she had the power to find her own way home. As Glinda the Good Witch of the North would finally reveal, all she had to do was click the heels of her ruby slippers together and repeat, "There's no place like home. There's no place like home." Inside every one of us dwells an incredible innate intelligence. It has a purpose, and that purpose is to survive. And for eons, this innate intelligence has ensured that we survive. It wasn't until the advent of massive pharmaceutical cartel who put profit above people that we started down this path of the quote magic pill unquote dependency. Don't get me wrong, I realize how much modern medicine had added to our survival and our overcoming of hitherto overwhelming epidemics. But perhaps with this paradigm shift, it is time for the individual to take back control of his own or her own health. All through the pages of the book, we as we discuss new and innovative ways for us to heal our own body, and in this volume specifically addressed the multi-therapeutic approach to sciatica. It is my goal and desire to help you not only address your sciatica, but to rise above the dependency of another for your amazing health potential and take the reins and learn to guide your life to where you can flourish and prosper while enjoying excellent health. So anyway, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum. That was the foreword of my book, New Hope for Sciatica. And that foreword is what got my book taken down off of the shelf of Amazon in March of 2020. And because I couldn't say the word coronavirus. Pretty crazy. It took a few months for me to realize that I was censored because of that. So I had to rewrite the forward, and then I got it edited through Amazon. And then shortly thereafter, that was a year or so, I actually slid in the original version so that it actually as I wrote it now. But the whole point of this book, but of that introduction is the fact that, well, I saw something talking about Pfizer celebrating 172 years of being in business and they'd never cured one disease. And that was kind of an interesting comment. I'm sure they've cured something along the way, but, if they were successful, we wouldn't be sick. And right now we spend $4.7 trillion a year on healthcare in this country. 4.7 trillion. And 70% of that is said to be spent on um, covering up symptoms or symptom management. It's big business. And right now the whistles are being blown. The ship is being turned. It's like trying to turn the Titanic away from a looming iceberg. But it's up to you and me to decide that it's our health and it's our choice. So that's the name of my show. And this is the first time I'm here today by myself. I worked with this guy, Bill, who's made sure I could get online, and hopefully I'm airing right now. I'm assuming I am. I haven't heard anything saying I'm not, but I'm also airing at the same time on my Facebook channel, Duncan McCollum. And I also have these shows up on my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Duncan McCollum. So if you go to Dr. Duncan McCollum and join me on YouTube, if you would be kind enough to follow me there, I have over almost 200 different shows on different health subjects on there. including one with Bobby Kennedy and Dr. Dan Pompa several years ago before Corona. And when he was talking to a group of the doctors that I work with about just cellular health, because we know that the cause of disease is chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation based on things that shouldn't be in our body that cause the body to react to those things, whether they're heavy metals, molds, forever chemicals, glyphosate, which is Roundup, diabetes, which is, is basically caused by chronic inflammation. That chronic inflammation is blocking the cells from working well, so your body can't absorb the nutrients well enough. You get too much sugar in your blood, and then it becomes dangerous. So your pancreas goes crazy trying to keep up with it. When it doesn't have the capacity to keep up with it, then you get pharmaceutical man-made insulin to keep that sugar down. But people don't get well. They might make the sugar level in the blood look better, but they tend to get heavier and heavier and heavier. And then these arteries and capillaries at the ends of their toes and fingers plug up. When that happens, you lose oxygen and nutrients to the tissue, and then you get the nerves dying, which is called peripheral neuropathy. Also, with a lack of oxygen and nutrients to the tips of your toes, your toenails become dysfunctional. The skin around your toes becomes weak. The immune system around there becomes weak. Muscles atrophy, bone starts to decay, and it can become a terrible thing. So peripheral neuropathy, I've learned to coin this thought that all roads lead to peripheral neuropathy. And what that means is pretty much all chronic disease ends up with peripheral neuropathy. And the most that people do for you is they give you some kind of medication, Lyrica or such, that may or may not solve the problem. So our goal is to try to make sure that you stay healthy and be healthy. So I'm going to take a short break, and I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Be free. I can be free. I will rise above. When you're on, I can be free. Hey, everybody out there on Facebook and YouTube land. This is kind of a juggling act for me. I'm on the air with Santa Cruz Voice, but I'm also recording it. And when I put a commercial on there, I have to fill the dead air time to talk to you guys and thank you for being part of my show. And I really hope that if you're local, you come in and see us. I'm wearing my vitamin G shirt today. For those of you that are on Facebook, you can see it. Vitamin G, 100% gratitude. Gratitude is the thing that you need to use in order to help your body become healthier. Because when you have the right gratitude, the endocrine system works well and your body's a lot happier. So, but come to our peripheral neuropathy workshop, give a call, 831-459-9990. And I'd love to meet y'all. Thanks for listening. Follow me on YouTube and or on Facebook. And we'll talk to you soon. Well, we still got another commercial going on the air, so I'll keep talking. If you haven't got my book, New Hope for Sciatica, or Turn Back Your Biological Clock, they're very helpful to give you understanding of how to change the foods you eat, how to decrease the inflammation in your body, and different dietary things that you could do to start to get your body burning the correct fuel. So I hope that you look into that. Okay, I am back, and it's very good to be here. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum talking to you from the Santa Cruz Voice, and this is my 5th show, I believe, and the first show that I'm doing it all by myself. I've got my wings now, and I'm just out here pushing buttons and trying to make things work. So hopefully you're enjoying it. I've been talking about things that cause stress in your life, the major ones that we've all been exposed to. It's a major incidences along the time, the length of time from the Y2K to, 9/11. There's a few things in between there. COVID for sure, the election and the change of the powers and all the craziness that's going on. But the thing is that we start to dampen our enthusiasm for life, and that fear of whatever it is, that invisible lion you don't know there, stops you from reaching. And when that happens, your body does not have the neuroendocrine response that you want. Because when you're excited about life, when you feel good in life, your body's going to create vitamin G, which is serotonin and dopamine. You're going to be motivated to achieve goals and to make something happen. So I really hope that, by at least listening to the show, you can start to get a feel for what things you may be able to do to make your life work better. I'm looking for my bottle of vitamin G. I brought one in with me. Oh, it's in my pocket. What do you know about that? So, for those of you listening out there today on Santa Cruz Voice, you may or may not know about vitamin G. It's a vitamin G that I packaged myself, and it was hard to find this stuff and enough to package it, but it's called 100% gratitude. So, and this is one of the things we recommend. Obviously, chiropractic, we work on the nervous system. We free up pinched nerves. We make sure that your organs are communicating with your brain and your brain with your organs and your toes and your feet and your gizzards and livers. And then nutritionally, I was talking about chronic inflammation and how toxins, a toxic environment can get into the body. And if our nerves aren't making our liver and everything work well, our body can become toxic. Pretty soon it's like having a vacuum cleaner with a filter you never clean, but you keep turning it on and going over the same spot, and it doesn't pick anything up. As our liver becomes overloaded and toxic with a lifetime accumulation of forever chemicals and poisons and heavy metals and glyphosates and all these things, it stops working well. Then we don't have such a clean running engine, and then our body gets sick. It's kind of like if you were running down the street and you had a hose in your exhaust pipe of your car and put it into the cab and kept driving, you'd get sick. So, in order to help our bodies get healthy, we need to, number one, make sure the nervous system's working right. It might be for you, hey, I got a low back injury, I got a neck pain, I got a shoulder pain, I just want to get out of pain. That's awesome. If it's stopping you from doing what you want to do to enjoy your life, then it's worth putting the time and money into. One thing I can tell you, which is really a shame when I see this, but a lot of people don't, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but I have people come in, and when we go through what's going on with them, we do a thorough consultation, evaluation, set of x-rays so we can see the history of what's happening. And whatever their devastating effects are of their health, if I think I can help them, I'm going to tell them so. If not, I won't tell them so. But then, a lot of times people just, they've tried so many things that haven't worked. They don't want to try one more thing because they're afraid it won't work again, or they won't want to invest in their health. I have some friends that live out of town, but was a brilliant uh, guy back in the day and traveled all around the world working with all these computer stuff. But right now he's losing his memory and he's losing his hearing. But well, I met with him a couple years ago and we were out of town and I said, look, you got to get this handled. I mean, they drive expensive cars. They have two beautiful homes all paid for. And, I make it a policy not to work with my friends like this because number one, they never want to do what you tell them to anyway. But also, I'd rather not have that connection with their healthcare. I could advise them, but I'm going to send them to people I know. So I sent this guy, I wanted him to go see my friend up in Portland, actually, because one of his houses is up there. And right off the bat, I said, this is probably going to cost you 20 to 30 grand to get fixed because I knew they had a problem with money. They got all the money in the world. Everything's cash. He just bought another over $100,000 Porsche. When it comes to spending money on his health, even though he's got all the money in the world, he doesn't see value in it. Now, unfortunately, his wife is going to be the one that will be taking care of him until she can't anymore because of the memory issues he's having. We know right now that diabetes type 3, there's diabetes type 1, which means your pancreas doesn't produce any more insulin at all. They used to call it juvenile diabetes. Then there is diabetes type 2, which means your body can't produce enough to get it in the cells because the body's so toxic that you need a jackhammer or a battering ram to get the sugar out of the bloodstream and into the cells. That's totally reversible in most cases, by the way, if you catch it in time. But diabetes type 3, when you don't catch type 2 in time and you give extra insulin, it creates too much insulin in the blood called too much insulinemia blood. Hyperinsulinemia, too much insulin in blood. Has another name. Diabetes type 3 has another name, Alzheimer's. So I'm sitting here looking at my friend going, you have to do something about this, and I don't want the money. I'm not going to do it because it's just not for me to do this for you, but I can tell you who you need to go see. And they didn't do it. Well, we saw him recently in town, and now he's scared. And he told me, he says, Duncan, can I talk to you about this? Do you mind? I'm actually scared. I don't remember things. I can't remember what I've been doing or where I've been. And so he started the dialogue, but he's still not ready to pull the trigger. And this is a sad thing because, it's going to get too late to turn back the hands of time. My book, Turn Back Your Biological Clock, you can get on Amazon, will help you understand a lot of what you can do about this, but you've got to start now. Don't wait for the other foot to drop. It's called wait and see medicine. You go to the doctor and they go, well, let's wait and see what happens. They give you something. Well, let's try this and wait and see what happens until you get worse and worse and worse. And then it's irreversible. And most chronic disease end up in peripheral neuropathy, by the way, which is after all the drugs and medications for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, this, that, and this affect the nerves in your body. And you just look it up and go, well, what is one of the side effects of taking high blood pressure med? Peripheral neuropathy. Don't stop taking it. Don't stop taking that med until you talk to your doctor about it. But you should say, what else can I do? You can come to my workshop Wednesdays, probably full, might be one or two seats less, or Thursday, 831-459-9990, and go, hey, I just want to find out about this, get some information on this condition, see if I have it or not. And then if you do, we can tell you what we could help you do about it. We can compare notes to what's been done for you already, if you've even embraced it yet. But the point is that if you wait too long, it's sometimes too late. And nobody wants to get that phone call that it's too late. We've done, the last few shows, I've talked about that, what happens when you wait too long. I'm not going to delve into that today. I'm going to delve into gratitude. So gratitude, vitamin G. We all need to up our dose of vitamin G, just like everybody's being told to take more vitamin D. Vitamin D is for sunshine, right? And we never took enough. We need to take it in large doses and small doses, and we want to cycle high and low doses. But you probably should really find out about that before you start doing it yourself. We can actually measure the heavy metals in your body, your hands, through your hands with something called photocytometry, which is pretty cool. Sends a photon through your palm of your hand, and it penetrates the cells and tells us what kind of heavy metals are in the cells, which level of which vitamins are you good on or short on, what kind of elements like calcium and magnesium and all those other essential elements are in your cells. So we can get a fair sense of what's going on. And that will tell us to some degree how toxic you are and also what's going on with inflammation in your body. Because remember, inflammation is the heart of, it's 15 out of 16 of the most common causes of death are related to diseases which are in part brought about through chronic inflammation. So 15 out of 16 of the most common chronic diseases are caused by chronic inflammation, or have it as a center part, which are turning on the genes. Because inside your cells, you have unhealthy cells, they're toxic. The toxins in the cell turn on those bad genes. Those bad genes express themselves in the disease the gene is supposed to cause or not cause. So, but the thing is, vitamin G, 100% gratitude. And on the bottle, you can come get these at my office. So come and ask for them. They're free, vitamin G, and it says 100% pure gratitude. Don't keep out of the reach of children. One of the main vitamins what children are deficient in today is vitamin G. They're deficient in gratitude. And I think we can all agree to that. It's really nice when you meet a kid that has had a good high dose of gratitude in their life because they're much happier, healthier, more effective people. So there is some directions that go along with gratitude. And if you don't know how to take it, it won't work very well. So I wrote the directions on the bottle here. Direction number 1, hold bottle in hand. I have to read it here. Hold bottle in hand every morning and think of 10 things you're grateful for. Now, it's hard to do every day. Think of 10 things you're grateful for because you get up, maybe you didn't sleep well, the dog's barking, you got to get the garbage out, who knows what, you forgot to get cream for your coffee. But that's not the best way to start your day. So you want to train yourself to be thinking of 10 things you're grateful for or one thing you're grateful for. I'll go for one. Grateful for one. The second direction is repeat gratitude to the first 10 people you meet, or express gratitude to the first 10 people you meet. So, you go to the coffee shop, you go to the gas station, you see some people at work or your neighbors taking the garbage out. A lot of times they are not going to be versed in expressing gratitude. So our knee-jerk response is to fight fire with fire or kind with kind and not be friendly back to them. Well, I'll tell you that's not the best solution. It's much better off, you're much better off to be friendly and express gratitude, any way you can. And that might just be in, hey, it's great to see you. Thank you for, I'm so glad that you're out here taking the garbage. You've reminded me, by seeing you do that. Or somebody pours you coffee at a coffee shop and they go, 35 cents. Well, 100 years ago, $18 for a cup of black coffee, small. And you give them their $18 and they turn around and put it in the register and look at the next person expectantly, and they don't say thank you or anything like that. So I go, hey, thank you. Have a great day. Goes into deaf ears maybe 100 times, but one time it might penetrate that ear and it might be what they needed to hear that day. So we always kind of have, our senses take in our surrounding. Sometimes we see this in the surrounding and we become affected by it. But you can always do something to affect your environment or that person out there. And there's a phrase, a saying that says, you never know how far one small act of kindness might go. So that could be sharing gratitude. When people come into my office as patients, they're often sick at their wits' end. They've tried everything else and they just don't feel good. And when we see them with that smile on their, or not a smile on their face, thinking here's just one more doctor and one more office to push my buttons and not give me the service I need, no wonder they come in grumpy. But if we look at that as, oh, they're grumpy at me, how dare them, then we are not serving that person. So we want to be share gratitude and be grateful for the people that come in and let them know that it's okay. Let them know that they're in the right place. Direction number 3 is repeat often. So first thing in the morning, hold the bottle in your hand and think of 10 things you're grateful for. Express gratitude to the first 10 people you meet and then repeat often. So if everybody did that, our world would be a much better place. And guess what? Gratitude is free. You don't have to order it on Amazon and pay for shipping. You don't have to go stand in line and fight somebody for the last bottle on the shelf. It's there. We give it away at our office please come get it. And there are some nutritional values here, and I thought I might as well read them. So it says the nutritional value of gratitude. Okay, vitamin G may reduce brain fog, increase hormone optimization, balance the autonomic nervous system by upregulating the parasympathetic rest and digest response, reducing oxidative stress and cellular inflammation. There's that cellular inflammation thing. So gratitude can reduce cellular inflammation, thus improving cellular function, increasing mental clarity, focus, and productivity, optimize the mitochondrial energy. Everybody knows that the mitochondria is what creates energy in the cells, I think, by now. It can increase body's production of serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin, increase happiness, improve sleep, and general likability. So by taking vitamin G, you could improve the general likability of yourself or others. Vitamin G has also been shown to unleash your own innate intelligence, allowing the greatest physician who ever lived to work its miracles so your body can heal. And then side effects, all of the above. So this is one of the best supplements you'll take, and the side effects are as good as what it causes. And there is a warning, like on all supplements, you have to have a warning that says, warning, this product has not been approved by the FDA, CDC, NIH, FBI, CIA, or World Health Organization. So be warned, they haven't approved gratitude, okay? And there is some nutritional factors on the bottle as well. So I want to make sure you know what you're taking. A serving size is unlimited, so you can have as much gratitude as you want. You can't overdose on it. The amount per serving, okay, so there's 0% sugar, 0% fat, 0% protein, 0 calories, 100% gratitude. It's BPA free, naturally sourced, environmentally sustainable, animal tested, gluten free, non GMO, 100% organic ingredient, shade grown, harvested by hand, no forever chemicals, and packaged with love. Formulated by Benazati, my good friend, and purity tested by Dr. Dan Pompa. So those of you that haven't heard me talk about gratitude before, I'm sure you've heard of it elsewhere. But I have my t-shirt. We don't have these ready yet, but you can probably come and get a vitamin G t-shirt pretty soon. And let's just change the world one smile at a time. Now, when it comes to you and your health, perhaps there are things that just gratitude alone may not handle quick enough for you. So that's why we have my office open in Capitola, Dr. Duncan McCollum. And I never charge to sit down and talk to anybody about their health. If I think I can help you and we need to move forward, I'll discuss what fees we're looking at to go from there. No obligation to do anything at that point. But we have some amazing equipment at my office. You may or may not have heard of the soft wave therapy stem cell machine. We call it the TRT machine, or tissue regenerative therapy. I've had mine for probably, before COVID, so 7 years. And when I got mine, I had the #2 in the country. It's a true lithotripsy machine. They used lithotripsy for the last 30 years to break up kidney stones with sound. It's a sound machine. So since then, they started innovating and putting a broader focused head on it. And we found that we can work with knee problems, foot problems, Achilles problems, plantar fasciitis, hip problems, low back problems, neck problems, shoulder problems, elbow problems. All of these things we've seen some amazing results with. So we have a $49 special to try that soft wave therapy to see if it's right for you. And you'd sit down and talk with me at no charge first. If it looks like it would be something worth doing, I'll tell you what we would do. We'd more than likely take an x-ray of the area of complaint, which is included in the $49. Where else can you get an x-ray for $49? And then if it looks like we'll be able to do what we call a mapping session, that's where we run the machine over the area and you see that it finds the spots. It's pretty smart that way. We also are now including a acupuncture meridian treatment with it, where we just go over the acupuncture meridians on the hand related to the area we're treating. And we can explain more later there. We also have these incredible class 2 lasers that are Erconia lasers. They're red, violet, and green. So they cover the full visible spectrum. And what these lasers do is they work with something called the mitochondria. Just like sunlight hits your arm and causes vitamin D, and on a tree, it causes chlorophyll, photosynthesis. These lasers, when they hit your skin, they create energy inside the mitochondria. And it's basically, there's something called an electron. You may or may not remember it. And it has a bunch of rings around it, just like there's different planets around the sun. And, the closer the planet, the smaller the ring. Well, when the Erconia lasers hit a cell with mitochondria, it takes that ring, that electron, and jumps it up to a higher ring. So it would be like taking Mars and putting it up where, or excuse me, what's in Mercury? Is that the one closest to the sun? And it will jump it up to where maybe Mars is. And then when that falls back down to its original ring or orbit, it causes energy to be released. So that we're basically creating more energy in the mitochondria. The more energy in the cell, the better the cell can heal. So this is a pretty cool thing. And so we do that too. We have sometimes people come in and there's a reason not to do this soft wave therapy. We'll do the stem cell machine on, or excuse me, the laser on them instead. And same consultation, exam, x-ray of area needed to see whether we can help you with light or sound. So the cool thing is, E equals mc squared. Einstein discovered the speed of sound. The lasers are healing with the speed of sound, or light, I mean, excuse me. And then we have the sound wave, which is healing with sound waves, basically. We also have a lot of other amazing things. We also look for the cause of inflammation on a cellular level. So this could be toxicity, and it usually is. Sometimes it's heavy metals and molds that have come down 4 generations through mom's umbilical blood, maybe stuff you picked up from your own mercury exposure, chewing on lead paint as a kid, doing a bunch of dumb stuff like I did as a kid, and then exposure in our environment that finally hits a tipping point, and our body can't hold up to this toxic load, and this body starts to break down, and that's when you get chronic disease, and that's what we want to try to help you get over. So anyway, I started the show talking about stress and some of the major things that have caused stress in our lives. And there will be more. Absolutely going to be more. But in one way, stress has we wouldn't survive without stress because stress hardens us. It hardens steel. It makes coal into diamonds. So we want to be able to utilize this, the body's ability to handle stress, but we've got to make sure that it doesn't tip the scale too far to where we're not going to be able to handle it. So that's what we're looking to do, is help our body heal by reducing the harmful effects of stress on the body. So I hope that was helpful. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum. This is Santa Cruz Voice, of my 5th show, I believe, and my first show, flying solo, where I didn't have Michael Olson here helping me make things work. I had some help with Bill Woolington, I think that's his last name, remotely helping make sure I'm on the air. It's just so fun to be able to share my thoughts with y'all out there. And hopefully this helps you. If you want to come to the peripheral neuropathy workshop, please call the office. I know we have some seats open that evening, Thursday evening, coming up, 6 o'clock. You can call 831-459-9990, and we would love to have you there. And bring us anybody that you need to, a spouse or a friend that may have it. Maybe they need you to bring them because they can't come in themselves. You would be astonished. I mean, astonished how many people come in and tell me they have a hard time driving because they don't know if their foot's on the gas or the brake. I'm telling you, I hear this. It scares the heck out of me. I make sure they leave before me. But the good news is that most of the time we can help them if we catch it soon enough. So don't wait too late and don't expect a miracle overnight. It took you so far a lifetime to get there. So it's going to take a little time to get you back to where you need to be. So again, if you guys like the show, you can always email me info@mccollumwellness.com and just shoot a message saying, hey, thank you. Can you talk about this or that? Or I haven't had guests on yet. I will have some pretty cool people on as we go. Um, yeah, and follow me on Twitter. We're getting some viral stuff going on Twitter, Dr. Duncan McCollum. So if you're on Twitter, please follow me and Facebook, obviously, Instagram. I have a podcast. It's Dr. Duncan McCollum. No, it's McCollum Wellness Radio, my podcast. Over 200 podcasts on there. If you like to drive and just listen to health, you can just plug your phone in and hit whatever avenue takes you to my podcasts and listen to them. Books on Amazon. You can always get them there. Follow me on Facebook. If you follow me, excuse me, on YouTube, that would be a big boost because, my goal is to help people and to get the word out. And the more YouTube sees people following me, the more they are going to promote what I have to say and what I stand for. So I stand for freedom of health and freedom of choice in health. I am 69 years old. I'm not on any medication. I've never been on any medication other than when I was in the hospital for a ruptured appendix. I had to take some morphine and some antibiotics while I was in the hospital. Took me about 6 months to recover from the antibiotics. I've had a few other medications in the last 30 or 40 years, but very few. Um, when I was 12 years old, I broke my back, didn't know it, falling out of a tree. And then I became a drug addict back in Berkeley in the 70s, Telegraph Avenue. You know the rest of the story. So about to the end of the show here. So please, if get on one of my social media, say, hey, I like your show. Can you talk about this or that? Email the office, McCollum Wellness, MCCOLLUM Wellness at gmail.com, info@McCollum Wellness. Come to the peripheral neuropathy workshop. I know we have some seats that evening, 831-459-9990. We'd love to meet you. I love being part of this Santa Cruz Voice community, and my show is every Monday from 3 to 4. And I am open to your suggestions on things you want me to talk about. As long as it's natural health, that's what my goal is. I don't really, sometimes there's a point where you need Western medicine for emergency medicine, and I'm right there for that. But when it comes to our general health, the amount of stress-related traumas and huge incidents cause our body to emit cortisol, which causes chronic inflammation, which causes chronic disease, and it all culminates in peripheral neuropathy if it doesn't kill you first. So 831-459-9990. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum, 3 to 4 on Mondays now. My next show is next week and topic to be announced. Maybe some of you will get a hold of me and go, hey, can you talk about this or that? And I'd be glad to do that. So at any rate, I'll give my number one more time, 831-459-9990. And with that, I'm out. We'll see you next week.